Have you ever wondered why evil exists in a world created by an all-loving, all-powerful God? If God is perfect and good, then why do we find ourselves surrounded by suffering, temptation, and sometimes even darkness? This mystery has puzzled humanity for centuries, and the answer may lie deep within an ancient story, one that begins not on earth, but in the heavenly realms. Imagine a realm far beyond our understanding, a place untouched by time, where magnificent beings of pure light and power existed to worship and serve. The Bible gives us glimpses of this paradise, a harmonious kingdom where powerful angels, each radiant and unique, existed to reflect and amplify God's glory. They were beings of immense beauty and power, designed for one purpose: to honor and protect the holiness of God Himself. But then, something unimaginable happened. In this realm of perfection, where every creature had a purpose, a crack appeared. One angel, among the most beautiful and wise of all, began to see things differently. The heavenly kingdom that had once existed in perfect harmony was about to face an unprecedented rebellion. What could possibly go wrong in such a flawless place? And what would lead beings created to serve the Almighty to rise up against Him? While this may seem like a story confined to an ancient time, it carries powerful truths about pride, ambition, and choice, qualities that exist in all of us. Just like this angel, we, too, face choices that shape our lives. Have you ever felt the pull of ambition, the temptation to be more than you are, or the desire to be admired and recognized? What begins as a whisper in our hearts can grow, leading us down paths we never expected. This ancient story of rebellion may reveal much more about us than we realize. As we dive into this story of heavenly rebellion and cosmic consequences, prepare to uncover truths that may challenge what you thought you knew about good, evil, and the choices that shape our lives. Why did these angels, created in perfection, choose to turn away from their purpose? And what did God do in response to this cosmic defiance? Join me as we explore one of the Bible's most profound stories, a tale of light, darkness, and the age-old battle that continues to impact us today. 1. Heaven's beginnings and the rise of Lucifer. In the beginning, heaven was a place of absolute harmony, where each angel knew their role in worship and service. Among these celestial beings was one who stood out in beauty, wisdom, and power, Lucifer. He was one of God's most magnificent creations, his appearance described in the Bible as adorned with precious stones, like sapphire and emerald, reflecting a radiant beauty that symbolized his high status. Lucifer wasn't just any angel, he was a morning star, a powerful leader among his peers, entrusted with immense responsibility. The Bible speaks of him as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty, Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 15. In his role, he was nearer to God than most, a being of profound privilege. But within this high honor lay a vulnerability that even Lucifer himself may not have recognized. 2. The nature of free will. To fully understand what happened next, we must first understand the gift and responsibility of free will. God didn't create angels as mere puppets. He wanted their worship to be genuine, arising from their own choice. This freedom allowed the angels to truly glorify God, but it also opened the door for pride, envy, and, ultimately, rebellion. Connecting free will to Lucifer's pride, with his unparalleled beauty and authority, Lucifer began to see himself as greater than he was meant to be. The Bible alludes to this change in his heart, stating, "Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor," Ezekiel 28 verse 17. Rather than seeing his gifts as blessings to honor God, he began to focus on his own greatness. His ambition began to grow, and this seed of pride took root. 3. Rebellion and the fall of the angels. Lucifer's ambition and rebellion. Lucifer's pride grew into an ambition that would change the course of eternity. No longer content with his role, he set his sights on taking God's throne. In his heart, he declared, "I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly." Isaiah 14 verses 13 to 14. This desire to replace God was not just a rebellion, it was a declaration of war against the very one who created him. The cosmic battle. In response to this defiance, a cosmic battle erupted in the heavens. The book of Revelation gives us a glimpse, saying, "Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back." Revelation 12 verse 7. Lucifer's pride had led him to take up arms against God himself, and many angels followed him in this tragic rebellion. This battle ended with their defeat, and the rebellious angels were cast out of heaven. The fall and exile. As punishment for their defiance, Lucifer and his followers were cast out, exiled from the presence of God. No longer shining with the light of heaven, they became dark, twisted versions of their former selves. They were now fallen angels, condemned to roam far from the glory they once knew. 4. Their continued influence. The fallen angels' role on earth. Though cast out of heaven, the fallen angels did not cease their work. In fact, their influence reached earth, where they became agents of temptation and deception. Satan, formerly known as Lucifer, is described in 1 Peter 5 verse 8 as a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. These fallen beings now exist to lead humanity astray, opposing God's purposes at every turn. Specific references from Job and Ephesians. The story of Job illustrates this dark influence, where Satan seeks permission from God to test Job, causing him immense suffering in an attempt to shake his faith. Job 1-2. In Ephesians 6 verse 12, we are reminded that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. These fallen angels continue their rebellion by luring humanity away from God's light, using lies and temptations to disrupt lives and sow discord. A reflection on their ultimate fate, but even as they continue their work, the Bible reminds us that their time is limited. Their rebellion has a definite end, one that will come in God's appointed time, when all things are made new. Reflections on free will and pride. Free will is one of God's greatest gifts, allowing each of us to make choices that define our lives. It gives us the opportunity to truly love, honor, and follow God out of our own desire. But as Lucifer's story shows, this freedom also comes with a risk. The ability to choose means we can choose wrongly, leading to pride, selfish ambition, or actions that ultimately harm others and ourselves. Personal insights on pride and self-centered ambition. Pride often begins subtly, just as it did with Lucifer. It can grow from our strengths, talents, or accomplishments, tempting us to see ourselves as self-sufficient or even superior. We all face these moments when we must choose humility over pride. If we let pride take root, it blinds us to the value of others and, ultimately, to our need for God. This is why the Bible warns in Proverbs 16 verse 18, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." The impact of spiritual warfare. Reflecting on spiritual warfare today, in our world today. The concept of spiritual warfare might feel distant or abstract, yet it's a very real part of our journey. We face daily temptations that pull us away from what's right: greed, pride, envy, or anger. Ephesians 6 verse 12 reminds us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against forces that aim to cloud our hearts and minds. Every challenge we face, every moment of self-doubt or fear, can be seen as part of this larger, invisible battle. Historical or personal examples of resilience. Consider the story of Martin Luther, who faced immense spiritual battles as he sought to reform the church. He encountered both external and internal struggles, but his faith kept him grounded in God's truth, giving him the strength to persevere. Many of us have moments like these, times when our beliefs are challenged, and we have to lean on our faith to remain steadfast. Anecdotes and illustrative stories, real-life analogies to pride and ambition, draw on real-life stories that parallel Lucifer's journey, instances of pride or unchecked ambition leading to downfall. There are many stories, ancient and modern, that reflect Lucifer's journey, a person who rises to great heights but loses themselves to pride. Think of historical figures or leaders whose unchecked ambition led them to unethical decisions or even ruin. Like Lucifer, they often start with good intentions but gradually turn inward, focusing only on their own gain, until they lose the trust or respect they once held. Everyday examples. Imagine a professional setting where someone is promoted because of their skills, but over time, they begin to see themselves as indispensable. Eventually, this pride leads them to make decisions that harm others or cut ethical corners, focusing solely on their own success. This pattern mirrors Lucifer's fall, a journey from purpose and humility to self-centered ambition. Role of faith in overcoming temptation. Faith is armor in spiritual battles. Faith is our armor, a protection that shields us from the lure of pride, greed, and other temptations. Ephesians 6 verses 10 to 18 speaks about putting on the full armor of God, truth, righteousness, and the gospel of peace, to stand firm against spiritual attacks. When we face temptations, it's our faith in God that strengthens us to make the right choices, even if they're difficult. Faith doesn't eliminate struggles but empowers us to overcome them. Incorporating life lessons and personal experiences, in my own life, there have been times when I was tempted to take the easy path or let pride cloud my decisions. It was only by focusing on my faith and trusting in God's guidance that I was able to make the right choice. Faith reminds us of a larger purpose, one that goes beyond personal gain, and it realigns us with what truly matters. The concept of divine justice and mercy. Balancing justice and mercy in God's actions. God's judgment on Lucifer and the fallen angels was just, yet throughout the Bible, we see that his justice is always balanced by mercy. In our own lives, we are all susceptible to pride, but God offers us countless chances to turn back to him, showing mercy each time we genuinely repent. This balance of justice and mercy reveals God's character, a God who is both just and compassionate. Relatable stories of forgiveness. I once knew someone who struggled with a deep resentment, holding on to grudges for years. Over time, they realized this was hurting them more than the people they resented. By embracing forgiveness, they found peace and growth. God calls us to forgive and seek forgiveness because it frees us from pride and brings us closer to his mercy. In the same way, the story of Lucifer reminds us of the importance of humility and the power of divine grace. Imagine you were in Lucifer's position, given power, beauty, and admiration. How would you handle it? Would you be able to stay humble? Pride often appears in subtle ways. What are the small, everyday things that might tempt you to think too highly of yourself or to place your needs above others? Do we sometimes confuse self-confidence with pride, and if so, where do we draw the line? Take a moment to reflect on areas of your life where pride might subtly influence your thoughts or actions. How can you work toward guarding your heart against it each day? Consider one practical way you can embrace humility in your interactions this week. Perhaps it's giving credit to someone else, listening more, or serving others without expecting anything in return. Spiritual warfare is ongoing. How might you prepare yourself daily to stand firm in faith and resist temptation? The power of humility. remind viewers that humility is not a weakness, but a strength that protects against pride. It's what keeps us close to God and helps us live with purpose. The value of free will. Reiterate that free will is a profound gift that allows us to make meaningful choices, to love genuinely, and to pursue good. But it requires responsibility, being mindful of our actions and their impact on others. God's justice and mercy. Summarize the balance of divine justice and mercy. God's judgment on the fallen angels shows his commitment to righteousness, while his mercy toward humanity demonstrates his deep compassion and desire for us to turn back to him. Reinforcing the hope in spiritual vigilance. Spiritual vigilance means being aware of the influences around us and staying rooted in God's truth. It's about keeping our focus on what's pure, loving, and noble, even when faced with challenges or temptations. Living with purpose calls us to make choices that reflect our faith and values. When we choose humility, love, and forgiveness, we are aligning ourselves with God's grace, resisting pride, and embracing the hope that comes from a life lived in God's light. Practical tips for purposeful living. Start each day with a prayer for guidance and strength to resist pride and temptation. Surround yourself with friends and mentors who encourage humility, integrity, and faithfulness. Reflect regularly on your actions and attitudes, asking God for wisdom to make choices that honor him.
If this message resonates with you, hit that like button and let the universe know you're ready for your breakthrough. Subscribe to our channel for more transformative insights and guidance on your journey to abundance. Share this video with friends and family who need to hear this today. Let's amplify our positive energy together. Your engagement not only helps us grow but also strengthens the cosmic energy we are building as a community. Together, we can uplift each other and manifest our dreams into reality, one positive action at a time.